Are we about to go to war with China? Are we about to go to war with Russia, or both? Who knows? Maybe it is both. Why not both, right? I mean, hey, a war is war, right? No, I actually don't believe that, of course. But a lot of people are asking the question. Considering where things stand in the world today, it's a fair question to ask. It really is. I mean, it seems as if we are faced with a combination of fearmongers or warmongers when it comes to China and Russia. Who's right? Are either of them right? Does it matter if either of them are right? Is this a foregone conclusion? I wrote an article over at discernreport.com titled Rumors of a Coming War with China. Fearmongering, warmongering, or legitimate? According to the article, the spy balloon incident was a direct military incursion by China against the United States of America. According to Gordon Chang, this tells us China is ready to go to war with us. Is he right, or is he fearmongering? Meanwhile, multiple military and intelligence leaders have been declaring various timelines for an upcoming Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Most of them have been warning that American intervention will be necessary. Depending on the state of affairs with the Russia-Ukraine war and our involvement there, it is possible that we could be embroiled in two major regional conflicts at the same time. Both could accelerate. The generals and intelligence officers talking about it seem eager to engage. Are they being prudent, or are they warmongering? Fearmongering, warmongering, both, neither. These questions point me to the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verses 6 through 8. The disciples asked Jesus about his coming and about the end of the world, to which Jesus replied, "And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." And that should concern all of us, because if this does come to pass, I mean, look here, if we are living in the biblical end times, let's just start there. If we are living in the biblical end times, and if the book of Matthew, chapter 24, is referring to these times, I mean, let's face it would match up. Okay? I mean, he's talking about famines. We've been talking about famines. It's in the news. It seems as if we as a world are headed towards massive food shortages. And it seems as if the powers that be, the powers and principalities, are pushing us towards that as fast as they can. What about pestilences? Do I think that COVID-19 was the big pestilence talked about in Matthew? No. That doesn't mean that we won't see something different, something bigger, something worse coming soon. And perhaps I would be more inclined to believe that maybe the vaccines are the pestilence that is described in the book of Matthew. Who knows? Then, of course, there's the question of earthquakes. Are we seeing earthquakes? I don't have the statistics in front of me, timing-wise. Obviously, with the earthquake in Turkey, in the Middle East, and Syria as well, thousands of people dead. Yeah, I mean, that seems to be a big deal. We've seen earthquakes in a lot of places lately. Again, I would have to look at it statistically to know if there really is an increase, but I would say, at least anecdotally, certainly feels like it is. So is this the beginning of sorrows? Are we seeing wars and rumors of wars? Yeah, I think we are. I mean, we haven't seen rumors of wars like this, and we're not talking about rumors of war here or there. We're talking about major wars. We haven't seen anything like that, any rumors of such wars, since the Cold War. I mean, it's been really since the 80s that we've seen this really likely escalation of wars that would pit superpower versus superpower, that would really embroil the entire world in what would be called World War III. Those rumors have not been around for at least 3 decades, and now they're back. What about real wars? There's always wars, right? There's wars pretty much at any given point in human history. So is it worse now? Well, I would say that, considering that the Ukraine war has embroiled more Western nations, more nations are participating one way or the other in this war, this regional conflict in Ukraine. than we've seen really since the Second Gulf War. So 2 decades there, right? Or nearly 2 decades. Okay. Well, what does this all mean? Does this mean that we are in the biblical end times? I would argue that it doesn't matter. And you might be like, what do you mean it doesn't matter? Well, to me, it doesn't matter. As far as our path forward, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Our path forward is that we spread the gospel, we spread the truth. If you're a Bible believing Christian, even if you're not a Bible believing Christian, you still spread the truth about, as I would mention, the deep state, the military industrial complex, the globalist elite cabal, those who seem to be driving us towards famine, pestilence, wars, rumors of wars, maybe even the earthquakes. Who knows? Maybe they're DARPA doing some DARPA crap and making earthquakes. I don't know. Above my pay grade. All I know is this, is that we spread the truth. And if you're a Bible believing Christian, you spread the gospel and you live as best you can. Pray, honor God, read your Bibles, and then live life. Live life as best you can. Live life in a way that is not loaded with frivolousness, I guess. I don't know a better way to put it. Try to do good in the world. We can't be good as people. We are incapable. We are evil. But that doesn't mean we don't strive towards goodness, towards righteousness. We try our best. So I would encourage people, prepare spiritually for sure. And if you want to prepare physically as well, so be it. That would be great. But definitely prepare spiritually, because whatever's coming, whether we are in the end times or not, it doesn't change that we need to do those things. Okay? That's why I say that it doesn't make a difference. Our path forward remains the same either way. So don't make plans. Well, I was going to go buy a condo in New York City, but because it's probably the end times, I'm going to go get a homestead in Montana. I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but don't do it just because it may be the end times. Do it because you think that's the right way to go, end times or not. What I'm fearful of, the reason that I want to say it like this is because I don't want people, thinking to themselves they made this huge mistake 10 years down the line. If this is not the end, if this is not the prophesied biblical end times, and things go back to normal, and Trump and DeSantis or whoever, and the United States gets better, and the economy gets fixed, and pandemic panic theater's gone, and Fauci gets arrested, and Putin leaves Ukraine, and China gives up on Taiwan, and everything goes hunky-dory. I don't want people to be like, wow, I could have been in my private swimming pool in my condo in New York City, but instead I'm stuck picking tomatoes in Montana. Look, either way, you should probably be picking tomatoes in Montana versus swimming in your condo in New York City. I'm not trying to judge here. I'm just saying that folks, pretend like it is. If that's what it takes for you to do the right thing, pretend like we are in the end times. I'm willing to say that, but I'm not willing to say that we are definitely there, because are we seeing some signs? Absolutely. Is it possible that they're false positives? Absolutely. So I know I just went off on a very, very odd tangent there, but hopefully you guys can appreciate that. Now let's get back to this article. I want to skip down to what Gordon Chang was saying. And this article came from SHTF Plan by Max Slavo, titled MSM. According to mainstream media, China is preparing for a war that could start at any time. The mainstream media is now warning that the Chinese spy balloon debacle is a sign that the country is preparing for a war that could start at any time. A war analyst told Fox News Digital that the United States policy has created the conditions for history's next great war. Gordon Chang is apparently an expert. It's very clear that Max Slavo does not respect Gordon Chang. I do. I respect his knowledge. I will admit he does tend to always side on the worst side of everything. Like whatever, if China sneezes, then Gordon Chang will say something really bad about them. So I can understand that. But put expert, the word expert in scare quotes, that's not fair. He really is an expert for sure. Anyway, Gordon Chang is apparently an expert on U.S.-Chinese relations, and he claims that the balloon situation is showing us that China is preparing to go to war with the U.S. And this is a tweet. The hashtag Chinese spy balloon shows us that China is preparing to go to war. He posted. Okay, great. Chang pointed to a recent move from Chinese President Xi Jinping shortly after He was appointed to his precedent-breaking third term as General Secretary at the National Congress in October, when he appointed what is being referred to as the War Cabinet. China's preparing to go to war. Chang, author of The Coming Collapse of China. I mean, he really doesn't like China, folks. I'll tell you that. China's preparing to go to war, he said. It's engaged in extremely provocative and dangerous activities around its periphery, and war could come at any time and at any place. Chang told Fox Digital News that decades of inaction to combat Chinese aggression in Taiwan and the South China Sea and across the globe have created an atmosphere where China does not fear repercussions for acts of aggression, such as the spy balloon that has been floating over the United States for days. And to be clear, I know we can say, oh, Biden this and Trump would have done this and whatever. Folks, I don't know what Trump would have done. I think he probably would have shot it down earlier for sure. But even he, in many ways, pandered to China, okay? As did Barack Obama, as did George W. Bush, as did Bill Clinton, as did George H.W. Bush, as did Ronald Reagan, okay? As did Jimmy Carter. I don't know if Gerald Ford really did. Yeah, he did. He did. And of course, obviously, Nixon did. So we've had at least, 8 presidents that have pandered in some way, in various degrees, to China. So it's no wonder that they feel empowered to push the boundaries, to go beyond what they really should be. I mean, we haven't spanked them down yet. And I'm not saying we should, by the way. That's not an endorsement. Oh, we need to spank China. I'm just saying that Gordon Chang is right here when he says that they have not faced repercussions. They haven't. They haven't. Here's a quote from Gordon Chang. The United States is so much more powerful than China from almost every perspective, and yet the Chinese don't view it this way. The Chinese view that they can do whatever they want because we have told them that they can do that. The Chinese have engaged in a number of activities that violate our sovereignty, and some of those activities constitute acts of war, and we do not respond. It's not just not responding in February 2023, it's not responding over the course of decades. So, of course, the Chinese have this mentality right now. We have created the conditions for history's next great war. And here's a quote. I'm not sure where this quote's from, actually. Max Slevo over at SHT of Plan does not indicate where it's from, but according to this quote, China confirmed on Friday that it is the owner of a surveillance balloon that it claimed is a civilian research craft that was blown off course by prevailing winds, adding that it regrets the incident. It doesn't regret it regrets getting caught. They regret getting caught. And no, this wasn't a civilian research craft. Best case scenario is that it was just a spy balloon, like everybody's saying. Worst case scenario is that it was. I mean, the conspiracy theory that I've heard about this is really kind of bad. Okay, I don't even want to repeat it, but I will. For your own sake, I'll go ahead and say what it was, or what this conspiracy theory is. There are those that say that these balloons. And it's not just, by the way, China. Apparently, North Korea is flying balloons now over South Korea. Why is that? What is going on here? Do they really need this information that can only come from a balloon? I mean, couldn't they get it from satellites? What is so special about these balloons at 60,000 feet? And the possible answer to the question, again, this is an unsubstantiated theory, but it makes a little bit of sense. The possible answer is that these balloons, they weren't looking at anything. They were carrying a payload, a digital payload that could infect computer systems, infrastructure, in a way that is very, very different from anything we've seen before. Of course, they're able to hack various things by having this direct line of sight connection with certain things. For example, I don't know, nuclear silos, which they crossed over several of them, or major hubs of our electric infrastructure, as well as other aspects of infrastructure such as gas, water, or internet. Maybe just being able to hack into military or bank or whatever. Okay, just even cities, hospitals. If this technology, that we may never know what it was, but if there was technology from this balloon that couldn't be done from a satellite, that had to be done like this. Maybe it wasn't for surveillance. Maybe it really was about dropping a virus. And I'm not talking about a physical human virus. I'm talking about a digital virus, some way for them to continue to hack into what we do here in the United States. Is that possible? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a hacker. I'm not not particularly technologically savvy. I don't know if any of this is possible, but that's a rumor that I've heard. And that's scary. I mean, is surveillance bad enough, evil enough? This would be truly, legitimately, just unambiguously pure evil. And it would match with what the Chinese Communist Party has been doing for decades. Okay. They have no qualms with harming others, especially the United States of America. They will steal. And again, to be clear, we're talking about the Chinese Communist Party, not the nation of China itself, not the Chinese people. This is not a racial attack. This is an attack against an organization that hates us, that hates the world, that wants to subjugate the entire world. I mean, let's break it down. Let's call the Chinese Communist Party what they are. They are would-be, wannabe, very hard attempting to be tyrants, rulers of the world. That's it. I mean, there's no other way to put it. That would be their goal. Okay? Xi Jinping is not just interested in keeping control of China. He and the Chinese Communist Party would like to control the entire world. And this could be a pathway through which they were or are doing it. Maybe, and this would jibe with that idea would jibe better than the surveillance theory. When we consider that they have spy balloons over Canada, Costa Rica. I mean, why are they going through Central and South America? And those are just the ones we know about. Unless this is bigger than just surveillance, unless this is bigger than just spy balloons. What if they are trying to plant something digital? What if they did plant something digital? So I don't know. I mean, you guys, you leave me comments. What are your thoughts? Are we on the verge of going to war with China? Are we on the verge of going to war with Russia, for that matter? What if we face both at the same time? Could we win? So let's be honest. The vast majority of long-term storage, survival food, prepper food, is just awful. I mean, it just tastes really, really bad. And that's why they expect us to eat during the apocalypse. Well, if the crap hits the fan, I'm going to actually be eating good food. I go to lateprepper.com, a website that I built based upon two partnerships, the two companies that produce actually really good food. No need to set up a bulk discount. Doesn't matter whether you buy 1 or 10. There's no hidden fees here. As a matter of fact, we charge the same price that the source companies charge. The difference is we actually have exclusive discounts. Use promo code PREP 2023 for 10% off, or for you big spenders, use code PREP 2030 for 15% off on orders of $777 or more. Go to lateprepper.com and eat well for the apocalypse.